What is good, y'all? Welcome to the channel. From the title, you probably already know what this video is about. First thing we're gonna start off here is getting the trunk off, the OEM trunk off, and taking off all the little parts. We're gonna start off with the headlight. Not the headlight, the license plate housing. We're gonna take these off. You're gonna want to use a something to pry it off. They're not that hard to take off, but be very careful because they are very old and brittle. They will break if you tug on them too hard. Back to the carbon fiber. They don't come with the cutout holes, so you're gonna have to use some power tools to cut. Either a power tool or you can use a hand saw, whichever you prefer. I know carbon fiber can be pretty tough, so I'm gonna go with a Dremel we had around. And as always, when you're cutting carbon fiber, you're gonna want to use a mask because you don't want to breathe in none of that carbon fiber fumes. I got this mask at Harbor Freight for like $2, and I'm gonna be using these bits for the Dremel diamond cutting discs. And this is the Dremel I'm using. It's just a hyper tough Dremel we had laying around. Next thing you're going to want to do is mask off the work area you're going to work on. You don't want to scratch or damage any of the carbon fiber you don't want. So here I already dremeled out the hole off camera. I wanted to see, I've never done this before, so I wanted to see how I did it with a steady hand before I recorded it. I'm going to record the other side and show you what I did to this one. You're going to want to leave a little bezel, like a little, you don't want to cut right to the edge because you're going to be sanding the rest off to the desired size you want. You don't want to overcut more than you want to. So just to be safe, cut a little, like a couple centimeters off of the line you want to get at. So that's what I'm doing here. Being really careful with this. Try not to look at my phone and cut at the same time. The last thing you want to do is damage your expensive carbon fiber, so be really careful. So what I'm doing here is making the lines, and then after I make the line, I'm going deep for the cut all the way through. I would recommend you use both hands. The power of the Dremel can be a little overwhelming sometimes with one. As you can see right there, it just beat me and it went over. It could have been a lot worse, but I was able to keep it together. I kept this in real time just so you can see how long it should actually take. It shouldn't take that long. Just take your time. After you finish cutting, you're just gonna grab the other piece from the inside of the trunk. Just grab it from the inside, take it out. Also, my friend and I were working on this together at the same time. As I was doing that, he was drilling the holes for the carpet liner on the inside. The inside of the trunk is fiberglass, so it's not actual carbon fiber on the inside. You don't have to drill the holes if you want to go full race car mode and just keep the weight off. I'm not going for that, so I want the most OEM look possible, so I'm drilling the holes for the carpet liner. You just basically drill the holes and take the carpet liner off the OEM trunk and use the same clips. Very simple. Now back to the sanding. I picked up these sanding bits from Harbor Freight. At the end I didn't end up using them because they didn't fit the Dremel, but the point was to sand the holes down to the size I wanted them to. I ended up using these other bits right here that my friend had laying around. These work better than the other ones would have anyway, so it worked for the better. I went ahead and sent this hole off camera to see how I would do with both hands, as I did with the Dremel, with the cutting Dremel. So it came out pretty good. It's about the same size. It's a little snug on the housing. All I have to do is push it in. It should clip and it should be tight and it won't go anywhere. I think that's the size I'm gonna keep it at. Now I'm gonna try to do the same to this side, and I'm gonna try to record it in the process with one hand. I changed the bit on this one to a rounder, like a cylinder shape rather than a cone. I figured it would be a lot better to get to the corners because I struggled with the cone. So basically you're just gonna go slowly. Don't try to push it hard. If you're new to it, don't try to go ham on it. Just go easy. Take it little by little and you should get the size you want. Yo, are you serious, bro? And you're just gonna keep on drilling like you just didn't mess me up? Alright. If you're gonna be doing precision work, make sure you're the only one working on the trunk. You don't want them messing you up and then ruining everything. Luckily it wasn't that bad for me, but it could have been worse. Well, I got both of the holes drilled out to where I wanted to. Both of the housings fit in perfectly, so I think we're done here. Next thing you're gonna want to do is drill this hole on the inner trunk. That's where the wiring for the lights are gonna go. You're gonna want to make them about the same size as the OEM trunk, as you can see right here. Just about the same size. If you make it any smaller, the wiring won't fit and you're just gonna struggle. The wiring basically goes up and then goes that way. Next thing you're doing is drilling the holes for the license plates. I basically just put some tape and just kind of made some measurements that will make it centered, and just drill. Make sure you use the tape to make the markings, and then drill on top of the tape. If you drill without the tape, you can risk cracking the carbon fiber more than you want to. So try to use the tape, and once you use the tape, you're gonna come out with clean holes basically. And then you're gonna hear cracking. Don't worry about it, it's all good. See, once you peel the tape, some clean holes. Boom, centered. Next thing you're gonna want to do is make these holes. You don't have to use these holes, but I'm gonna do it. They basically hold these rubber grommets right there that keep the plate from slapping around the trunk. You don't have to use it. I personally don't want the plate slapping the carbon fiber, scratching it, so I'm just gonna go ahead and drill them. And plus it keeps more of an OEM style. So I just use some tape and pretty much just mark the center of the hole. You're gonna want to start with a smaller size than what it actually is. You don't want to start with the biggest size, because if it's too big, you can't go back. But if it's too small, you can always go bigger. So we figured out that this size wasn't big enough, so we went to the next biggest size. And boom, we got them in there, nice and snug. They ain't going nowhere. I think the size ended up being a 5/16. Next thing you're gonna want to move on to is the door hinge. I already installed it, but basically you're gonna need smaller bolts, tiny bolts like this one. The OEM style one is too long, and the actual thread on the hood, on the trunk, is little. So the OEM bolt like this one is only gonna thread to about there, and it's gonna be sticking out a whole bunch, and it's not gonna tighten anything. So I just found these somewhere laying around, and I used them. They fit perfect, and the hinge isn't going anywhere. It's nice and solid. So after the hinge, we went and installed the trunk onto the car. I forgot to actually record this because we struggled. The bolts didn't match up, so I just ended up matching some different bolts we had around with washers, as you're gonna see here. Now to get the wiring harness up the trunk, we just fed a wire all the way through, got it from the bottom, and we're just gonna tape it up and pull it. And that's pretty much it, y'all. I know this is not much of a tutorial, but it gives you an idea of what you should do. I know there's nothing on YouTube or anywhere else that shows this, so here y'all go. Hope y'all enjoyed. Give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'll be doing a lot more stuff to the G8 if you're interested. So yeah, stay tuned for more content in the future. This is my first time ever doing anything video related, so bear with me. Hopefully my content gets better. Y'all let me know down in the comments below if you got this trunk, want this trunk, or if you weren't able to get it. Let me know. And see y'all in the next one. Peace.